After weeks of reported drone sightings triggering confusion and anger throughout the Northeast,
this one's gonna fly over us right now.
Tonight, the FBI and Department of Homeland Security deploying state-of-the-art drone detection technology and infrared cameras to New York and New Jersey. The spike in unexplained drone sightings seen in at least 7 states from Virginia to New England. In Ohio, over the weekend, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base outside Dayton temporarily closing its airspace Friday night because of drone incursions. Just outside New York City, reported drones forcing officials at Stewart International Airport to shut down their runway for more than an hour.
There's multiple drones all over this airport tonight, man.
And in Boston, 2 men arrested and facing charges for flying a drone dangerously close to Logan Airport.
And guys, I just want to say thanks so much for being here. Thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Thank you for those who always share our videos. We really appreciate it. Let's get going. Drone activity has spiked in different states right here in the country, guys. Now, what's really alarming is that they just don't seem to have a president who's aware of what's really happening. Now, apart from President-elect Trump, who seems to know more, but just kind of can't say since he's not the sitting president just yet, thankfully, President Joe Biden was finally able to talk about these drones, although he really didn't give us a clear picture as to why more of them are out in the night sky.
From all those drones over New Jersey, what's behind all of that? Nothing nefarious, apparently. But they're checking it all out. I think it's just one. There's a lot of drones authorized to be up there. I think one started and they all got it. Everybody's wanting to get in the deal. But we'll follow them and see closely. So far, no sense of the danger.
The president of the United States, folks, making mysteries that much more difficult to understand. But here's a huge update with these drones. A military veteran talked about a possible explanation for all of this. And to be honest, guys, many would have preferred aliens over this news. John Ferguson, the founder of Saxon Unmanned, a supplier of the U.S. military, he said that drones are looking for a rogue nuclear warhead, one that was smuggled into the United States.
But I want to give you the truth and what I believe. It's my own opinion, and I've not bounced this off of anybody. So, if you think it's bullshit, whatever, that's cool. I don't want to spread misinformation, as we know that there's a lot of that going around. But anyway, back in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan had dismantled the nuclear program, and there were, with Russia, there were countless nuclear missiles that were disarmed and disposed of. Well, there were over 80, I believe. There were over 80 nuclear warheads that were in Ukraine that came up missing. Okay? We don't know where they are. Maybe somebody does, but nobody really knows where these are. And I speak with some pretty high-level government officials on this stuff, and it seems as though that is the case.
So Ferguson has 25 years of experience in drone technologies field. Now, he obviously knows a thing or two about drones. But of course, this is just one of the many theories that are being let out there. It also feeds into the same narrative that these drones are actually owned by the US government, and that President Biden is just trying to play dumb as to not alert us of a nuclear warhead roaming around the country. It's expected that mass chaos would ensue if it was ever verified by the White House that a nuclear warhead did exist somewhere that's just lost somewhere in the country. Now, instead of providing answers, our senators are now talking about passing legislation. Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer says that he hopes to pass a bill that would give local enforcement more power to investigate unidentified flying objects, citing that he's also pushing for answers.
Senator Chuck Schumer wants a law to allow local law enforcement to move quickly and has also called for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security to deploy better drone tracking technology to identify the drones and their operators. But it appears there will be no quick action from Congress.
People in the New York, New Jersey area have a lot of questions, and they're not getting adequate answers.
Senator Chuck Schumer is fuming that the GOP has blocked his bill to give local officials more ways to track aerial drones.
Our bill explicitly authorizes state and local authorities to conduct drone detection and helps them better coordinate with federal law enforcement.
And while Schumer's bill got blocked, he suggested that drone detection systems be provided to different states as well. However, here's an issue with this idea. Many people are saying that these systems don't even work.
Jersey Governor Phil Murphy says the drone detection equipment they received from the federal government isn't doing much to help them find out why the mystery aircraft have been seen in his state. The FAA implemented a temporary ban on drones in parts of New Jersey and New York until mid-January. In the meantime, the federal government says the drones do not pose a public threat. The Pentagon also saying they are not U.S. military or from any known enemies. Yet there's little information regarding who is behind them.
Now, if you asked DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, there's nothing to worry about. He says that the uptick in drone reports is connected to a change in federal regulations, the one that now allows drones to be flown at night. But this doesn't match what we're hearing from New Jersey. Mayor Mike Gasilli of Montauk, he posted on Facebook regarding these drones. He says that a trustworthy resident of Montvale reported to him about something peculiar. After this resident's son tried to follow one of the mystery drones, it was said to be drone jacked, meaning that they lost total control of their own drone and that it went disappearing into the air, suggesting that these supposed mystery drones have specific counter-offensive systems that enabled them to hack into nearby drones and take over its controls. And so now there are some government officials who are more than pissed about the secrecy behind these drones.
New York City Councilwoman Ina Vernikoff is here to talk about that serious thing as well. What are you demanding from the state and federal leaders on behalf of your constituents when it comes to these drones, which I know are freaking people out in your district too?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. You know, the Biden administration is really going out with a bang here. The people have no clue what is going on here, what is hovering over their heads, and the fact that we still don't know is such an embarrassment on this administration. And we need answers right now, immediately.
What are some of the complaints that you're getting from your constituents?
Oh, they just have no clue what's going on here. And the fact that this is the United States of America, with all the money and resources that we have, not to know what is happening right now is completely unacceptable. And people are obviously freaking out.
Yeah, it's not been like a week or a couple days. It's been over a month, and we need answers.
So now, of course, there's still the possibility that these drones are from foreign nations, possibly even China. Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew, he says that it's possible that these drones came from Iran. But that in and of itself would be a huge issue for the administration, because that would mean that they allowed drones from a foreign adversary into our country. But of course, we're not going to hear about that if that is the truth. In fact, many people believe that until Trump is in the White House, we're not going to get much of that with President Biden. Are we seriously watching history repeat itself while nobody bats an eye? Kevin O'Leary, he's out here warning about riots in the streets the second that Trump's China tariff kicks in, and it just kind of feels like everybody's just shrugging it off. Meanwhile, the White House is briefing Trump on Iran being this close to a nuclear bomb, and we're all supposed to just kind of like trust that diplomacy will magically fix this. Really? Like they're about to make a nuke. I don't feel all that comfortable about that. Do you guys? Oh, and let's not forget about Joe Biden commuting killer after killer on death row right before the holidays. And they're leaving victims' families in an absolute fury. And now Trump's reigniting a firestorm with Panama over the canal like it's 1904 all over again. Like, are these the moves of a world heading toward solutions, the end of times, or maybe a powder keg waiting to blow? Because honestly, at this point, I mean, like, how can anybody like stay quiet about what's about to come next, which we are about to talk about in this video. By the way, guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you appreciate the content. Let's jump in. The White House has informed President-elect Trump of a growing risk that Iran could attempt to build a nuclear bomb after its influence in the Middle East has been significantly weakened by recent events. In fact, Joe Biden's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, he briefed Trump's transition team about the potential for Tehran to abandon its promise not to pursue nuclear weapons. Now, Jake Sullivan, he emphasized the importance of being vigilant in threat monitoring. All right. So this is legit. Now, this warning comes as Donald Trump's preparing to take office, and it's reportedly he's reportedly considering military options, including airstrikes to dismantle Iran's nuclear facilities. Now, Jake Sullivan, he highlighted that Iran's position in the region has been severely compromised due to Israeli strikes on Iranian allies, including Hamas in Palestine and Hezbollah in Lebanon. Additionally, the fall of Bashar al-Assad, Syria's Iranian-aligned president, has further eroded Tehran's regional influence. Now, Jake Sullivan, he reiterated his comments stating, hey, it's a risk that we are trying to be vigilant about right now. He also shared that he has been consulting with Israel, a key U.S. ally, about the implications of Iran's potential nuclear escalation. Now, these developments, they place significant pressure on the incoming Trump administration in order to decide exactly how to address Iran's nuclear ambitions and to maintain stability in the region. Now, of course, the Biden administration has raised alarms about the real risk of Iran shifting its stance on nuclear weapons and moving toward a nuclear bomb. Jake Sullivan, National Security Advisor, has told CNN that, he's been personally briefing President-elect Donald Trump's incoming team on the escalating threat. Sullivan emphasized the need for vigilance, explaining that basically Iran's nuclear ambitions might change as the country reacts to regional pressures and military losses. Now, Iran has long claimed its nuclear program is going to be peaceful. Hey, we're not going to do anything. We just want nuclear energy, yada, yada, yada. However, its actions, including exceeding international limits on uranium enrichment and accelerating its nuclear activities, have raised a whole lot of concerns. Recent statements from high-ranking Iranian officials, including Kamal Karazi, an advisor to Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, have hinted that Tehran might revise its nuclear doctrine if its nuclear facilities come under attack. Now, the calls for pursuing nuclear weapons in Iran have grown a lot louder following Israeli airstrikes that have targeted Iran's air defense systems. Israel's military, observing Iran's weakened position in the region, believes that the Islamic Republic may now prioritize developing a nuclear bomb. If they were to move forward with that, that would be potentially catastrophic for any of Iran's, let's just say, non-allies. Now, former President Donald Trump, or I should say President-elect Donald Trump, and the current president of Panama are sparring over the strategic control of the Panama Canal. This is a very strategic passageway that has long been a focal point of global trade and the U.S. national security concerns. So this debate comes amid broader discussions about the U.S. geopolitical strategy, including Trump's interest in Greenland and his critique of past decisions regarding the canal. Alex Gray, former national security official, he recently wrote about the historic significance of Greenland and, of course, the Panama Canal. Gray praised Trump as a bold leader who follows in the footsteps of figures like Abraham Lincoln, who considered acquiring Greenland back in the 1860s, and Ronald Reagan, who famously warned against the 1970s decision to relinquish control of the Panama Canal. Now, Gray criticized giving up the canal as a foolhardy strategic decision, and he argued that Trump, much like Ronald Reagan, recognizes the importance of these assets to U.S. national security.
Who would actually go for that?
Well, there are a lot of things you can do to create an environment where we can take over the defense of Greenland. We can take over a significant part of the national security obligations that Denmark currently has for Greenland. The Greenlanders have said publicly they're going to get independence at some point. So the question is, when they get independence, are the Chinese and the Russians going to be there to greet them and to do things that certainly are not in the sovereign interests of the Greenlandic people? Or is it going to be the United States who's there to make sure that both our security and the sovereignty of the Greenlanders themselves are protected? And I would much rather have Donald Trump waiting for the Greenlanders when they get independence than Xi Jinping.
I mean, it really is a gorgeous place, albeit cold. I also wanted to ask you about Trump and the Panama Canal, because he seems to be in a little bit of an online feud with the president, Jose Raul Molino. Jose Raul Molino said of Trump saying that he would take back ownership of the canal, said, quote, as president, I want to express precisely that every square meter of the Panama Canal and its adjacent area belong to Panama and will continue to be. The sovereignty and independence of our country are non-negotiable, to which, as Jackie pointed out, Trump posted a picture of the bow of a ship transiting the canal with an American flag on it saying, welcome to the United States Canal. I mean, obviously, this is just leverage to try to lower fees. Is there any way Trump could take it back?
Well, I think we should have a serious discussion about the failure of the United States under the Carter administration to give up one of our most significant strategic points in the world. It was one of the greatest American engineering and strategic achievements of the 20th century. Let's have a conversation about what has happened in the last 10, 15 years where China is now dominating the Panama Canal and threatening our interests in the Western Hemisphere. I think President Trump is in a great position to talk seriously about what it would look like for the United States to enter into some sort of negotiation with Panama to have a future stake, a more comprehensive American stake in something we built with American blood, sweat, and tears under Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, and then there's the trolling of Justin Trudeau, which this president continues to do mercilessly. Here's what he said on Wednesday on Truth Social. No one can answer why we subsidize Canada to the tune of over $100 million a year. Makes no sense. Many Canadians want Canada to become the 51st state. They would save massively on taxes and military protection. I think it's a great idea. 51st state. Now, I say this as a person who was born in Canada and emigrated to the United States back in 1989, became a U.S. citizen a week after 9/11. For Canadians, it would save them 30% going to Disney World if they were using American dollars instead of Canadian dollars.
Well, in addition to that, John, it'd be nice if the Canadians would spend more than 1.3% of their GDP on defense and actually start contributing to protecting North America. So, in addition to Disney World, it'd be great if we could get some help from them defending our shared border and defending the Arctic.
Now, Trump's approach to Greenland, according to Gray, it really just kind of emphasizes his deal-making skills, such as when he purchased Mar-a-Lago for $7 million back in 2019. So reports are now emerging that Trump even floated the idea of trading Puerto Rico to Denmark in exchange for Greenland. A proposal that's met with a lot of skepticism, but reflective of his unorthodox negotiation style. Now, Gray argued that Greenland holds immense value due to its mineral wealth and its strategic location for defense purposes. Now, I gotta ask you guys, what do you think about trading Puerto Rico for Greenland? Comment down below. By the way, guys, if you haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button. Thanks so much for joining me on this live this evening. Merry Christmas to you guys in just a couple of hours. Hope you guys are doing well, and you guys are pretty much in the house for the evening and getting ready for the festivities in just a little bit. But anyway, thanks so much for liking the video and subscribing. You guys are awesome. Now, in the context of Panama, Trump has expressed regret over the U.S. Essentially ceding control over the canal, emphasizing its strategic importance for defense and trade. Now, Gray highlighted that Trump's willingness to revisit such issues, it really just kind of demonstrates his commitment to protecting U.S. interests. Regarding Greenland, though, Alex Gray, he pointed out that the island's path forward toward independence raises a lot of concerns about potential influence from nations like China and Russia. He argued that the U.S., under a leader like Trump, would be much better positioned to support Greenland's sovereignty and to be able to protect its resources. Now, Gray concluded that Trump's assertiveness on issues like the Panama Canal and Greenland really kind of underscores his focus on strengthening U.S. security and ensuring strategic assets remain under friendly control, if you know what I mean. Now, also, at a rally in Arizona, former President Donald Trump made a lot of waves regarding suggesting his administration might attempt to regain control over the Panama Canal. This is a very crucial waterway linking the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans. So Trump criticized the United States' 1970s decision to hand over control of the canal to Panama, basically calling it foolish. And he claimed that the fees that are charged to shippers for using the canal are ridiculous. Now, I mean, me not being like overly familiar with the actual transaction of giving the canal to Panama, you would think that if we were to give it away, that there would be something in the contract that would at least say, hey, the United States will never, ever be charged anything to use this thing since it was a gift from the United States. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. But Panama's president, Jose Raul Mulino, he was elected on a pro-business platform. He strongly rejected Trump's remarks. Mulino saw the suggestion as a direct challenge to Panama's sovereignty, emphasizing that the canal is a vital symbol of national pride and independence for the Central American nation. So Trump's comments, they basically came during his speech at Turning Point USA's America Fest in Phoenix, Arizona. And this was his first major rally since winning the presidency on November 5th, mind you. But speaking to a crowd of over 20,000 conservatives, Trump laid out his vision for a renewed golden age of America. Rather optimistic, mind you. He promised that his administration would strengthen the economy, secure the U.S. borders, and resolve conflicts in the Middle East and the Ukraine. Now, the rally was a stark contrast to the recent turmoil on Capitol Hill, where Republicans under Trump's influence disrupted a bipartisan budget deal. A lot of people are just kind of a little bit upset about that, but it looks like things have pretty much settled down. Now, Trump, from his Mar-a-Lago resort, and his ally, billionaire Elon Musk, they opposed raising the nation's debt ceiling. And I think it was for good reason. This is a move that could have avoided future financial battles. Despite the tension, Congress managed to avoid a government shutdown, though the issue of the debt ceiling was ultimately left unresolved. Trump did not directly address the congressional chaos during the speech, but he did respond to rumors about Elon Musk's growing influence within the White House, referring to claims that Elon Musk might be taking control of his presidency. Trump reassured his audience, no, this is not happening. Okay, we'll see. Now, Trump's remarks about the Panama Canal highlighted his broader strategy of revisiting past decisions that he views as detrimental to U.S. interests. However, they also set up a potential diplomatic clash with Panama, with President Mulino firmly opposing any suggestion of relinquishing control of the canal. Now, the controversy really just further underscores Trump's aggressive approach to reshaping U.S. policy and his willingness to stir international debate in pursuit of what he deems national priorities. Now, guys, these are some big decisions that Trump's about to make as soon as he comes into office, between nukes coming out of Iran, possible airstrikes. Obviously, we've got the ongoing drone situation that Trump believes that our government is not cueing the American people in on regarding what's going on with all of these different drones, 6-foot drones that are size of buses and SUVs that are pretty much flying manned and unmanned drones all over a large part of the Northeast, New York, New Jersey, and other areas in the vicinity. I've even heard from folks in Connecticut and Florida saying that they're seeing drones. We even got recent drone reports in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So there's a lot that Trump is about to walk into on Inauguration Day on January 20th, 2025. But what are your thoughts, guys? Is anybody worried about what's coming up, what we're hearing, these reports, or more importantly, what they're not telling us? Let me know your thoughts, guys. Hit the like button if you appreciate the content. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Check out our previous videos, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
The only way to make it work with the supreme leader, as I like to call him, is to inflict massive economic pain and risk on him by imposing tariffs on sectors where many Chinese people are employed. I have nothing against Chinese people. I have a lot against their government. And the only way to put him at risk is to say, look, if you want to mess with the largest economy you trade with, then we're going to force a lot of people that make yoga mats or electronics or whatever else it is to be unemployed in your cities. They'll be rioting in the streets. They won't have any bread, and you will be out of power. That is the only way it's going to work. So very selected, high-impact weaponry, like tariffs, but you've got to be hardcore. He only understands the stick.
Wow. Riots in the streets, bread lines. So the question is, will China's President Xi Jinping cave or nah?
With the stroke of my pen on day one, we're going to stop the transgender lunacy. And I will sign executive orders to end child sexual mutilation. And we will keep men out of women's sports.
I just can't believe that Democrats are just going so hard with this, that, you know, saying that men can't play women's sports get you elected. Like, unbelievable. Like, just completely unbelievable. Do y'all support men playing in women's sports? I don't. Like, what are you, a tree, a dog, a cat, a non-binary? Well, whatever you are, according to the federal government, it looks like you're not any of those things. You're either a man or you're a woman. Is Trump right or wrong on that? Which now brings me to ABC News and the lie that cost them $16 million. Now, I covered this in a previous live stream where the news network has also been told to apologize to none other than President Trump. This is something you just cannot miss, guys. So make sure you check that one out. As always, appreciate you guys watching. Thanks so much for hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you guys next time.